Hey guys, good night, morning, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. I greet you with the love of God. I always say I was going to change that, but then I never do. I guess it's just comfortable. Maybe I'll just leave it. So this is actually going to be just a quick prophetic word. So one of the songs that I was hearing was this song by her, and it's baby, I've been going through some changes, and I know you losing patience with me. It's a song called Changes by her, and this song was just kind of playing in my head. And so sometimes God speaks to me through music, or he speaks to me through movies. You know, when you open your heart up and you don't limit God, God can speak to you any way that he wants to. And that's what I love about God. He's not limited to, he can speak through anything, because anything that was created had to first pass through his hands. So God can use anything to communicate. He used a donkey in the Bible. So if God can use a donkey, he can use music. But I was like kind of hearing that song just playing, my spirit changes. And I'm just like, and then as that song was playing, God began to give me two visions. The first vision was I seen my spouse, and I seen like the many looks that he's went through over the years. For those who don't know my journey, I've been in this journey for about 7 years, on and off, wanting to do it, not wanting to do it, giving up, then God making me get back in the fight, then giving up again, and just a whole bunch of ups and downs and my humanity. That's what it is. And a whole lot of God, a whole lot of God. Anybody who knows or who is called to stand knows that it is only by God's grace that you are still standing. I know for a fact I would not be in this if it had not been for the Lord on my side. And that is on let Lord listen, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. But the first vision was I began to see the different looks that my spouse has carried like over the years. And like, I just seen him kind of like morphing, like him morphing into who he is now. And then the second vision that I had was, you know how when a child is growing and you mark the doorpost, right? You mark the doorpost, and you see like how that person has grown over the years. Okay. You see how that person has grown over the years. And so basically, thank you, Holy Spirit. Basically, you can see over the years how, or however long you've been sinning, God is saying that this person is going through changes. I know me personally, just as a person, I've went through a lot of changes from where I was to when I first started this to who I am now. I am not the same woman. I don't have the same beliefs. Like, well, of course, Jesus hasn't changed, right? But there's a lot of things about me that has changed, right? And so it is about your person too. There's a lot of things about them that has changed. Whether they have started going to therapy, whether they started, their healing process, whether they started, different career paths where their career is blowing up, or, they're switching careers, or they're doing this, doing that, this person has been going through changes, and it's not just one change. I'm seeing God say that it's multiple times, multiple changes. So a lot of you guys are just like, God, why is all this stuff happening all at once? Or maybe even your spouse is going through so many things all at once. And it's because God is pushing you into the change. Okay. He's pushing them as well into the transition. So it's almost like, and I seen a word that was like something about a grand finale. And when I seen that, it really stuck in my spirit. And so this is the grand finale, the grand metamorphosis. That's what I'm saying. The grand metamorphosis. This is a grand metamorphosis, where you've seen over the period of standing and waiting on the Lord. Of course, seek God and make sure this word is for you. As you have seeked God, you know that you're going through a grand metamorphosis where you're transforming from one state of being to another. And the same thing is with your spouse. They are transforming right before you. I remember there was one season where I put out an album, and the whole theme of the album that God gave me was butterflies, the final stages. And I didn't even realize then that album was prophesying to where I am now. because that's where it feels like I'm going through like the final stages of who I'm supposed to be into who I'm my identity. Like I've never been so firm in my identity before until now. There's certain things about me that I've seen even in myself, and that I've also seen in my spouse. Like I've seen him being more solid in who he is and being okay with more and being more okay with who he is and everything that he's becoming. I've also seen the changes in him. So I feel like I feel like in this season, not even that I feel like, I know that God is speaking to a lot of us on change. A lot of you guys have been going, especially a lot of you guys that I've had coaching calls with recently. A lot of you guys have been going through a lot of changes, going through a lot of stuff all at once. And you're just like, God, why am I going through this? And I remember I asked God personally, I was like, Lord, why is all this happening? He was just like, it's because you're on a fast track to where I'm taking you in your giftings. And so a lot of times God will allow these things to happen to show you what's inside of you. The whole time, okay, I'm getting a vision. Okay, so it's kind of like this. You know how in a tornado or a hurricane, it's very like, in like the outside of the hurricane is very hectic. The wind's blowing, water is in the air and all kind of stuff. And it's just you just see like all this stuff just twirling around. But they always say that in the eye of the storm, there is so much peace. In the eye of the storm, there is so much peace. So a lot of you guys are in that position where you're in the eye of the storm and everything around you is like going in circles, being thrown around. It's like a tornado. But like when the dust settles, you're going to see complete change from what one thing was to the next thing. And what I mean by that is whenever a tornado hits something, it looks like everything is falling apart. It looks like everything is being destroyed, right? But then right after the storm, there's a time where there's a rebuilding that happens. There's a restructuring that happens. And what do? They rebuild the building stronger. Why? Because the storm, it was a cause and effect. The storm created a stronger foundation. It made the people say, okay, the storm knocked this building over this time. So this time we have to rebuild this building back stronger so that it's able to withstand the storm the next time the storm comes. And that is the same thing it is with us, with our spouses. They've been going through changes. They've been going through the storm. They've been going through the fire. They've been going through all these things that's making them who they are, rebuilding them to the person that they're supposed to be. All these things that are happening to us as well, God is using these things to rebuild us stronger. Imagine the faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. After they came out of the fire, their faith was at a whole different level. I'm pretty sure they would have allowed them to drown them in water if they wanted to, because they realized, man, if God will protect me in the fire, he'll protect me in the water too. If God will protect me in the fire, then he'll protect me if I have to jump off this cliff. Like, just imagine where their faith was in that moment after they came out of the fire. They realized that the God they were serving was the true God. And so a lot of times God will allow these storms so that when you are rebuilt, the stronger and better, you realize that only God could have done this. You realize that only God was the one that kept me through this. And you realize that your God is the true God over struggle, over whatever you were going through, whatever, over persecution, over betrayal, over heartbreak, over all these things you went through. God showed you that he is the true God compared to these things, and that he is still a healer, that he is still a rebuilder. You no longer have to fear those things anymore. Fear itself don't even have power over you anymore. Why? Because God has built you back stronger. The changes sometimes do hurt because there's a knocking down of the process, right? There's a knocking down. There's a coming low. You have to level the building first and then rebuild it. So sometimes when a building is falling apart, it feels like, God, you're allowing this to fall apart. And God says, I'm not allowing it to fall apart. I'm allowing it to fall together. I'm rebuilding you back stronger, but I have to start from scratch. So I have to remove everything that's on this foundation and I have to rebuild it so that I can rebuild it stronger. And sometimes it can feel like a loss, but it's not really a loss. The rebuilding process is actually God rebuilding you stronger. So he has to remove the old things, right? New wine New wine can't go into old wineskins because the old wineskins will burst. So you have to give it new wineskins so it can withstand the pressure of the new wine. So you've been going through changes. Like I said, the first vision was, I seen like a vision of all the different looks that my spouse has had over the years. Like God just started kind of playing it out like a video. And then I started to see like, then he showed me like my spouse as a child. And I seen him as a young boy. And I seen this doorpost with a Sharpie marker or a red marker. And I seen like a hand like marking it, like, and I seen like him growing up and hitting these different lines, like, oh, you was this how tall you was at this age, this how tall you was at this age. And basically I seen like something on a doorpost marking, like marking his height as he got older and went through these different transformations in his height and at different ages, right? And so God is showing you that your spouse is going through changes, and so are you. You guys are morphing into everything you're supposed to be. So with this being said, I love you guys. Be blessed. I hope this word blessed you, and have a great day.